Hey, welcome. So today's guest is a visual identity specialist. And I think that's something that every business should really think through. If somebody sees your sign or sees your colors, well, do they connect it with you? And that's a really important part of building your business is having your brand be recognizable. So let's learn more. Hey Giants, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I am having so much fun doing this podcast and meeting such interesting people. And I'm searching for people who can help you grow your business in different areas in different ways. And so today's guest is Istvan Weisz. And he has really, I think everybody should definitely seek out his services because it really brings your whole brand and business together. So, welcome. How are you today?
Hi, Luis. Thank you so much. I'm doing great, and it is so great to be here.
Well, thank you. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, I am. So, Istvan, and I am originally Hungarian, but I'm living now in the Canary Islands, Spain. And I'm a graphic designer specialized in visual identity and branding. And I also do web design, and I'm mostly on the front end. And so I made my studies at a fine art university and I majored in photography, but after that I switched career and become a graphic designer. And then I got hired at a branding agency, and this is where I learned more about visual identity and branding. And this is where I specialized in this, and I'm doing that ever since. But that's already a very long time ago. I don't know, 20 plus years. But after a while, I figured out that the freelancing is a much better fit for me, like how I approach life and everything. So I become a full-time freelancer, and that's already over 19 years. Yeah. And I was working from home and I in Hungary, and after that I decided to move here in this beautiful island, Tenerife, from the Canary Islands. Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to live on an island, right? Like,
Yes, it is an amazing experience. Yeah, it's a very beautiful environment, obviously amazing weather all year long, and the general vibe and the people and the culture, it is just great. Architecture. So yeah, actually, everybody who comes here finds everything that they would need. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I love
it is
your
a great.
term visual identity because it takes me into like the big corporation situation. You know, like visual identity reminds me of like Coke or Amazon or the how the big companies have taken their graphics and made them them. And that's what you do. And why do you feel that's important even for like a small local business?
So at the beginning, and this is how the word brand is originated from, if I know well, that how they branded different things with, for example, even the shepherds, their animals, how they branded, and so all the businesses, all the products and services and everything has to have an identity to be able for their target audience to differentiate from the others. And meanwhile, so for example, the when we think about the gas stations, for example, there are thousands of gas stations, different brands. The prices are usually the same everywhere, even though they are paying a huge amount of attention to differentiate themselves from each other, because it is very, very important that the service that they provide, the approach, how they are approaching everything should be different than from the others, from the competitors. And this is the same with all kind of businesses. Nowadays, it is very popular, the personal branding, when we are not branding a product, a company, or a service, or a product, but a person, and a person become a brand. And this serves, yeah, this goal to that the people to can differentiate this thing that they are creating from the others. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen your website. I've looked at some of the things that you've put together, and it's not just like a letterhead. It's not just a sign on the building, but you've incorporated everything, like the pieces that go on the product, the stickers that go on the product, I guess, or the packaging, and you put it all together so well.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with how everything from the visuals online to the visuals on the product to the visuals on the building just really connect. And there's no confusion as to like, oh, if I bought this product and it had this tag on it, I would know where it came from. And I think that
Mhm.
there's so many times where like even like a home service business, just the leaving a sticker on like of an HVAC company, leaving a sticker on the furnace after it's serviced. That's your brand and that's helping people to remember that you were the person who services. So if years down the line they needed something to just check on it, they would remember you because those are all connected together. And I think that the branding concept is just making sure people keep you on top of mind visually as well as the reminders.
Yeah, exactly. So you made the perfect definition of brand and branding. So this is exactly the whole thing about that company for their services or products or whatever they are selling. They use an identity and with their colors, with the choose typefaces, with the how they make the layout structure and everything. And this is actually one of the things that I like the most of being specialized in visual identity and branding, because I supposed to be the guy who sets up these rules that how should be the color contrast, in what proportion they should use one of the other color, the typeface, the size of the fonts, and so on. And if I generally they are thinking that someone who's specialized in visual identity and branding, they are creating mostly logos. But no, that's could not be further from the truth, because if we're supposed to be the guy who are setting these rules, then we should know that how a brochure, how an ad, how a collateral material or all kind of material and promotional materials has been created, and set up these rules that the other designers also can follow, and to have a good set up structure that just as you were saying before, that can be recognized very easily by the buyers as well. Yeah.
So walk me through the process. If a listener is, oh yeah, I want to talk to him, what information do you collect to help build that visual identity?
First of all, I would like to learn about exactly the product or the services, how they position themselves, who they are targeting, and what is the core message that they want to transmit to their target audience. And it is also very important to know as much as I can about the market where they are active, and the competitors. Because if you create a design that it is very similar to another company which is on the same market, then you can very easily confuse the buyers.
Mm.
And also it is very important to that the brand also to tell the truth. So if you can only lie once to a customer. So if you are over promising with your product or your service, then those buyers who could only afford that, let's put it this way, then they will not try to go to you, because they are seeing that you are targeting a different social class, the higher class, the only the but when those people who can afford your product or service, and they are going to purchase it, and the experience will be not that they was expecting, then that can be also a turn off, and they are not going to reach out to you again. So it is, yeah, it is very important to that the identity should reflect your real values.
So I noticed too that you have a lot of flexibility. Like, again, on your website, there were so many different styles or different types of businesses. Is it hard to jump from like something that's, say, like I don't know, a food item to something that's a kitchen product or something like that? Is it difficult to jump from different products?
No, actually, it is one of the most exciting thing about my work, because if I would be a graphic designer who's going to create only, I don't know, business cards for attorneys, and I would do that for 20 plus years, that I could burn out very easy. And but this is exactly the one of the most beautiful parts of my work, that I learn about so many initiatives and business ideas and different approaches. And just to tell you an example, almost a couple of years ago, a company from Budapest, Hungary, reached out to me that they want to have a web page for their classical music instrument manufacturing, and I did that. And the next week, I had another customer of mine from Florida, US, who needed a packaging design for their nutrition supplement product, and they wanted to target that with that bodybuilders. Now you can imagine that these two styles cannot be further from each other. But my job, my work is to be able to provide the same high quality for both. And my strength should be to be able to move comfortably in between these styles and so on. So
Mm,
yeah, and this is that genuinely makes my work very beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, it shows your creativity too. So,
Yes.
uh-huh.
Yeah. And I learned so many things about the world this way. Yeah. Yeah. Because so this is the other thing that I also, it is not graphic design specific. I think it is very important in life in general, especially if you are an entrepreneur, that you have to have socially sensitive. You have to see those things that the people around you or in general they are missing, and try to find a solution, try to find something that you can offer as a solution to them. And yeah, 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 and if you did a good job, then they are going to pick yours, and this is how you are able to make a business. So and all my life, I was this type of guy who was thinking always about solutions, that how can make the life better, easier, and the surroundings and the people happier. And for example, I also came up these I have few ideas that are still in the stage of ideas, so I cannot get too much into the detail, but I try to briefly tell you what it is about. The first one is that I would like to create a platform where I help small businesses, especially in the food industry, to be able to compete with the global brands. So, for example, I like to drink beer. So, if I go to a place where I haven't been before, and the first evening I go to the store, probably I'm going to pick the brand Heineken, because that's the one of the most popular beer brands in the world. Even though that I have on the shelf just nearby the Heineken, the local brand, I'm not even aware about it, or I have no idea about the quality of it. I know about the Heineken that it is a fairly good quality, and yeah, you cannot get wrong with that. Yeah, and I'm going to, but what if I would be a platform where these small brands would be able to advertise themselves and let the people know who are going there, to especially as for the first time, that hey, we are here, we have an amazing product, it worth to try, and and this is 100% local thing. So if you are purchasing this, then with this also you made a step further to learn more about that local culture. And actually, this is all about traveling to learn more about those local cultures where you have arrived. Yeah. Or I have another idea where and this is connected with strongly with my everyday work, with the graphic design, because uh, even though that previously I was telling you that my job is to be able to move comfortably in different styles and to be able to provide services for different industries and regardless of size or anything, I have my personal preferences. And one of my personal preferences is to create product identities, and especially for food related products. And nowadays you can see in all the supermarkets and every store that these food products are packed in all kind of different packagings, which not only that create that may causing a good amount of pollution, it creates a big amount of waste, and also increase the prices, because if you are packing, I don't know, the ham in I don't know what kind of fancy and the packaging, that is going to increase the price as well. And if you think about that, like 50 years ago, or let's say in the 1950s, 60s, in the stores there were not so much packaging. They were not using so many plastic and stuff. And I think this will come back, this era will come back, and we are going to, yeah, to change in this thing, what we are doing right now. Me as a graphic designer whose favorite thing is to create a packaging design and product identity, or I'm going to be the, let's say, the victim of this change when they are just get rid of the my favorite thing to do, or I can be one of the persons or who is actively be part of this change and help the society to get rid of this very polluting habit as well, and in the same time to keep everything that is positive in creating a product identity and the packagings and so on. So I want to come up with an idea where people can use boxes that is going to serve all the three stages, but you are using a food. So the shipping, how you carry from the store to home, the storage, and to serve that food to the table. And if I come up with this idea, which can work real well in the everyday life, and it makes the actually the people's life much easier, then I hope that is going to help the our planet as well to be a better place. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's great to have the packaging not only be green but convenient. And I often feel really bad about some of the packages once I get them home. It's like, look at all this paper and cardboard that I'm throwing away
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because I
Like
don't know why, but
78,
they felt it was
yeah,
necessary.
yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
80% of our waste are these plastic packages, which are for one-time use only. And think about how much ton of waste we are producing every day globally. Yeah. So yeah, that, and if someone would come up with a good solution,
Hmm.
then that would help the humanity globally. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. When you come up with this project, we'll meet again and share it, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly would do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Any
Uh,
closing thoughts?
what I think the most important thing in branding and visual identity is that the people to when they learn, especially at the first time about you, that to have this picture in their mind that, okay, and regardless of what this company says, takes really serious themselves, because You cannot expect from company to take serious yourself if they don't take seriously themselves. And this is why it should be a visual identity or brand done well. And yeah, this is why it is very important when you think about graphic designer, then try to listen their advices to what they are proposing, and that in terms of colors, forms, and different things. Because as a graphic designer, my job is to create that design that is going to connect your product with your clients, and not only that my clients to like it. So every design, it is an investment, and the role of the graphic design is to be able to connect something with the target audience. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And, especially like if you're a business and like when you started, you just like created things or you canvassed, used Canva to put a bunch of things together because you were just starting and you weren't thinking about how things were all going together. Now is a really good time to take a look at, are all your pieces branded? Are
Yeah.
they all united? And if not, this is a good time to reach out to Istvan because he can help you put it all together and make it a united piece to your business.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would be more than happy to help everyone.
All right, Giants. So I will have all contact information below so that it'll make it easier for you to reach out to Istvan. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you sharing, and I just have a great deal of respect for you as an artist in your visibility.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to having me here, and I'm very grateful for you.
All right, Giants, I hope you'll watch the next episode. There'll be a link somewhere here that you can go ahead and go forward to that and just learn more about people who can help you grow your business. So thanks for watching.
Uh,